You are listening to The Soul's Quiet Call, written by Akumah and voiceover by Sara.
Akumah Audiobooks.
Chapter 25, The Crossroads. The soft hum of the rain against the windows had long since faded, leaving an unsettling stillness in its wake. Meera sat at the counter of the flower shop, her hands lingering over the delicate petals of the roses, but her mind was far from the vibrant colors before her. The room, once a sanctuary of peace and beauty, now felt heavy, burdened with the weight of unspoken thoughts. Her gift, the one that had always been her compass, the one that had guided her through the complexities of human emotions, was no longer the blessing it once seemed. Today, it felt more like a curse. She had learned so much about the people she loved, but with Aarav, it felt like there was always something just beyond her reach, some deeper truth that she wasn't meant to see. The way he had looked at her, the way his hand had trembled in hers just hours ago, it was like a quiet promise, a reassurance that they could move forward. But could they? She could still see the shadows of his past in his eyes, the fear, the hesitation. And for all her certainty, for all the peace she had found in their shared vulnerability, she was left with the same question that had haunted her from the very beginning: can we truly move forward, or are we both too broken to heal? Her thoughts were interrupted by the faint sound of footsteps outside the shop. Aarav. Meera hadn't seen him since their confrontation, not because he had pulled away, but because she had been trying to give him space. Space to think, to decide what he wanted from their relationship. She had needed the space too, though she hadn't admitted it to herself. As the door creaked open, she looked up, her heart skipping a beat at the sight of him. Aarav's expression was unreadable, his shoulders tense, but his eyes, those eyes, were different. There was no fear there, no walls. Just the quiet weight of everything they had shared and the uncertainty of what came next. Meera, he said her name softly, like a question, like an apology. He took a few steps inside, and she noticed the way his gaze flickered around the room as if searching for something familiar, something that could anchor him in the moment. "Hey," she greeted, her voice steady but her heart racing. She didn't know how to act around him anymore. The rawness of their last conversation had stripped away the facade they had been hiding behind, but in its place, there was this unfamiliar silence, this tension that felt almost suffocating. "I've been thinking," Aarav began, and Meera could hear the hesitation in his voice, the weight of the words he had yet to speak. "About everything. About us." Her heart skipped a beat, and she met his gaze, willing him to continue. "What about us?" He exhaled, a slow, measured breath, as if he was still weighing each word carefully. "I don't know if I'm ready, Meera. To fully open up. To really let you in." The words stung more than she expected. It was a blow to the careful hopes she had been nurturing since their last conversation. She had thought that maybe, just maybe, he was ready to face the truth with her, to embrace the future. But here they were, standing at the same crossroads they had stood at before. "I understand," she said, her voice softer than she intended. "I know it's not easy. But I can't keep wondering if you'll ever let me in. I need to know if you're really willing to try. Not just for me, but for us." Aarav's eyes were pained, but there was something else there now. Something raw, something vulnerable. "I don't know how to let go of the past, Meera. I've spent so long running from it, hiding from it, that I'm not sure who I am without it. And I'm scared that if I let you in, I'll lose myself. Again." Her heart ached at his words, at the weight of the fear that still gripped him. But she also knew that she couldn't carry this burden for him. She couldn't keep carrying him, as if her love could fix the things he was too afraid to face. "I don't want you to lose yourself, Aarav," Meera said, stepping closer to him, her voice barely a whisper. "I want you to be you. All of you. But I also want to be a part of that. I want to be with you, but only if we can build something real. Something that's not just based on fear or loneliness or past mistakes. The silence that followed was heavy, thick with the unspoken things neither of them was ready to say. Meera could feel the weight of her gift, the constant pull to see beyond the surface, but she resisted. She had spent so much of her life trying to see inside people, trying to uncover their hidden truths, but now, with Aarav, she realized that she didn't need to know everything. Not all at once. Not until they were ready to share it. Aarav's eyes softened as he took a step closer to her, the distance between them shrinking, but there was still a wariness there. A reluctance. He reached out, his fingers brushing hers, but he didn't take her hand. Not yet. I don't want to lose you, he said, his voice hoarse. But I'm scared, Meera. Scared that if I open up to you, you'll see too much. That you'll see the parts of me that I can't even look at myself. Meera's chest tightened, but she forced herself to breathe, to remain steady. I don't need to see everything, Aarav. I just need you to trust me. And I need to trust you. He closed his eyes for a moment, and when he opened them again, the walls were gone. The fear was still there, but it was accompanied by something else, something Meera hadn't seen before, hope. I want to trust you, he said, his voice quiet but resolute. I do. But I need time. I need to figure out who I am without the weight of everything I've been running from. Meera nodded slowly, understanding. She had asked so much from him, and she realized now that she couldn't rush him. She couldn't force him to open up if he wasn't ready. But neither could she wait forever. I get it, she said softly. But I can't keep living in the shadow of the past, Aarav. I can't keep waiting for you to be ready. I need to know if you're willing to take a step forward with me, even if it's small. Even if we have to walk through the uncertainty together. Aarav's gaze softened, and for the first time in what felt like forever, he reached out, taking her hand in his. The gesture wasn't a grand declaration, but it was enough. Enough to show her that he was willing to try. That he wasn't running anymore. I'm scared, he admitted, his voice thick with emotion. But I don't want to run anymore either. The words hung in the air between them, fragile but full of promise. Meera knew that their journey wasn't over. There would be more obstacles, more moments of doubt and fear. But for the first time in a long time, she felt like they were standing on the same ground, ready to take the next step together. I'm here, she said, her voice steady and calm. And I'm not going anywhere. For a moment, they simply stood there, holding each other's gaze, the weight of everything they had been through hanging in the air. The crossroads was still there, just ahead. But now, it didn't feel like a choice between past and future. It felt like a choice between fear and trust. And for the first time in their journey, they were both ready to choose each other.
Akumah Audiobooks.
Refer to the channel playlist for a better experience and close your eyes to let your imagination run wild. Subscribe.